All right, here we go. It's that time. Welcome to episode 1. I am your host, Jay, and I'm honored to have a close conversation with a true young San Antonio skateboard legend, exclusive Sergio Ledezma.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Out the feds. How are you, man?
I'm doing good.
Yeah, man, you've been gone for about 4 years, right?
Yeah, about.
How was it?
It was it's really intense. Nothing too much crazy, but
Did it feel like 4 years?
actually, I mean, time flies, so I'll say yeah. I mean, it was good. It was good.
How does it feel to be home, bro?
Man, it feels amazing. It feels great.
I bet, bro. Where were you locked up at? Or where were you locked up?
I was locked up in actually a lot of facilities. I was like in, I can't even start. So many, probably like 10 plus facilities until I really hit the federal prison, you know?
Where was that at?
I went to Beaumont Medium.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want to start from the beginning, man, for our viewers who don't know, but you're from San Antonio, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about your early days and how you got into skateboarding.
Well, actually, when I first picked up a board, I saw one of my homeboys skate, and I saw him do like a kickflip off a curb, and man, ever since I saw that trick, I just fell in love with it. I was just like, man, I need to do that, you know?
Yeah, how old were you at the time when you started skating?
Like 11.
Oh, snap. And if you don't mind me asking, how old are you now?
26.
26, okay. And what was life like coming up? Like, where'd you grow up? Like, where'd you go to, like, middle school and high school at?
Where I grew up at, I grew up in like North Central, San Antonio. Shout out to everybody in North Central, for sure. And I went to school at Edison High School.
Oh, word? Okay.
Yeah.
And was there like a lot of gangs in your area, like where you're growing up?
A lot. Kenwood, DATK, it's crazy.
And did you play any sports growing up?
My dad was trying to get me into soccer, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't have the coach telling me like what to do and stuff like that. It wasn't for me.
Okay. And did you so you just started skating like at around 11, that was it? From there and on, that was it? Yeah,
that was it. That's what I loved. That's what I wanted to do.
You were hooked?
I was hooked. After them zero parts coming out, it's over with.
Yeah. And did you have dreams of going pro?
Well, yeah, of course. When you first start skating, when you're like around 11, you want to go pro. Like that's the first thing in your head. You're like, man, I want to do that. You know what I mean?
So you were taking it serious right away, or like you were just having fun with it, and then it just kind of took off a little bit?
I mean, I was when I was young. I started skating and I started learning new tricks, and I realized that I was progressing fast. So I was like, okay. So there was like this crew called the Pranks, and they were just like skating, killing it. And then I was just like, man, I want to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure. And so that was what? That was like middle school. Then you're like into high school. You said you went to Edison?
Yeah, that was really elementary. And then I went to middle school. And then middle school was just like, I was already getting good. So I didn't realize it until people started telling me like, bro, like, you got something. You know what I mean? So
for sure. So did you graduate high school?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Edison?
Actually, I got kicked out of Edison.
Damn, for what? What happened?
I'd say fights and all that. You know what I mean? They said I was in danger to the school or something like that. Crazy. Okay.
And in terms of like who you rode for during this time, did you have any like sponsors right away, like when you started skating and like getting? I know we're jumping ahead a little bit with like the sponsor stuff, but like, what was your first like hookup?
Well, I'll say I was skateboarding, and then next thing I know, like I was just getting in a park, and one of my homeboys just pulled up, and next thing I know that he's a filmer, a really good filmer. So I was just getting out with the homies. Shout out to like Rudy and Cosmo and them. Like I was basically learning off them, and then a dude just started filming me when I was a young age. So
yeah. So what was like your first hookup though, like a sponsor though? Was it like Fast Forward? Wasn't it Fast Forward or something? Or
it was Fast Forward. I would say it was Fast Forward because when I first started skateboarding, like I I was just a kid. I was like 11, 12, skateboarding. 13, 14 is really when one of my filmers, Wesley, he's real known. Like, you know what I mean? A lot of people know him. Shout out him. And then he came into the scene, and that's when I just started going on filming missions, and it was just on then, you know what I mean? Like,
So throughout skating, I know you were featured on Thrasher magazine, like website and stuff like that.
yeah, shout out to Fast Forward. Yeah, shout out to Rock Canales.
Yeah, you were a finalist for that Spitfire contest, right?
Oh, yeah, for
Can
sure.
you talk about that, like how that went down? Like,
Well, first, when I started filming with Wesley, next thing I know, you know what I mean? I started progressing. I started stacking clips. You know what I mean? I dropped a little promo part to my inspired part that was going to come out on Thrasher. And then I remember I was getting the call from Fast Forward because really, like, if you step it back a little bit, like, from getting to those sponsors, yeah, like, I was filming, and then I got on Fast Forward, and when I got on Fast Forward, I dropped one part for them. It was like a welcome me part. So as soon as I got on and I started stacking more footage, I got a phone call from Jeff, and then my first sponsor that I ever got was from Supra. So they called me,
dang, bro.
and Supra was telling me like, oh, actually Jeff had called my phone, and he was like a TM manager for Fast Forward or whatever. And then he called me. He was just like, hey, how would you like to skate for Supra? You know what I mean? And I was in shock. I was only like, probably like 14, about to hit 15.
That's
and I was
crazy.
just like, wow. I'm like, really? Like for Supra? And he was just like, yeah, I remember the exact day too, because I was at a Valero with my friend. And I just get a phone call like around like 8 p.m. at night. Like it was like in the evening, during the evening.
Yeah.
And then they just told me like, hey, how would you like to skate for Supra? And I was just like, I had the phone, and I was just like, I hanged up the phone, and I looked at my friend, and I was just like, bro, Supra wants to pick me up. They're like, what?
That's wild, bro.
No way. What? And I was just like, yeah, bro. Like, that's crazy. He was like, man, we got to turn up. He got like all excited. He was like, we got to turn up. We got to do something like to celebrate, you know? And I was just like, I bet. I was like, I still couldn't believe it, but it was an amazing feeling.
Yeah, so you got on Super like first, and then you're like on Fast Forward and Super getting hooked up with hella shoes. Like,
Yeah, they were sending me like about like 7 pairs a month.
so around that time, Super was really good. Like they were really popping. Like,
Yes, they were really
Antoine
popping.
was on, Eric Ellington, like
Yeah, Terry Kennedy. all
Kennedy.
them.
Those shoes were popping. Like
They even
really
had
hard.
Lil Wayne on it.
Yeah, Lil Wayne was on it too. So you were on like a really good team at a good time.
Yeah, had a good time.
And then when does the Spitfire contest happen? Like around that
Really?
couple years later?
Okay, so that Supra part, or not that Supra part. So when I got hooked up by Supra, right? Later on the road, I get another call. Actually, they called me to the skate shop. So I went to the skate shop, and then I think Rob, he pulled me up to the side. He's like, hey, come to the shop. And I was just like, what's going on? I was kind of like freaking out. And then he was just like, you're finna get a feature to Thrasher. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, you finna have a Thrasher part. Their footage you're putting out, it's really good. And they're interested in featuring you on Thrasher. And I was just like, my heart just dropped. And I was just like, no way. I was like, this ain't happening. I'm like, what you mean? So that Thrasher part came, and then they were doing this little like online contest. I'll say like for Spitfire. They were doing that burn.
Year to burn or something?
A year to burn, yeah. A year to burn. And then next thing you know, you have to send them their footage. You have to send them their footage and see if you even qualify. Out of like how many people that follow or submitted a, Instagram clip to Spitfire, like, were able to just get picked.
So was that your
randomly.
Inspire part, the part that came out?
Yeah.
So like there was a lot of crazy tricks in that Inspire part. So one of the tricks that I liked was that 360 backside kickflip you did
Oh yeah, that back three kickflip.
down Edison.
Yeah, that
I want to
was
see if you could take us
insane.
behind the clip on that.
Yeah, I actually got a DM from Mike Mo when I first did that. I remember when he first saw it, I guess. Mike Mo was like one of the judges that were picking out the skaters, you know what I mean? And then next thing you know, he was he was like, man, nowadays, little kids are able to do back three kickflips on big sets. That's insane.
That was pretty crazy, bro.
Yeah, and because of that trick, that's why I got that year to burn a full sponsorship for a year.
So Spitfire, you won that contest.
Yeah, that year.
So I know you like were the final four, but what happened after you got to the final four?
There were I mean,
was there like a voting process or like?
There was, but the final say so was Mike Mo's.
For real?
Because he was the only.
That's sick. So Mike Mo personally picked you out.
Picked me, yeah.
Damn, dude.
That was crazy. That was insane. I remember like he.
That's gotta feel pretty good though. If Mike Mo's like.
He's a legend.